Blessed be all of my people out there. It's time for another one of our day after, or in this case, afternoon after, fireside, check the candle, fireside chats about our most recent lunation, in this case, the full moon in Leo that we just had on the 12th, today, of February 2025, and what is coming on as we go through this next 2 weeks. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, hello, I invite you to like and subscribe. I am doing these videos in the interest of creating a more thorough talk about what happens post-lunations, post-new moons, post-full moons, post-eclipses, so that people can understand how they really work, but also get a better feel of the influence periods that they have and the astrological aspects at play. Because sometimes, people look at full moons and look at new moons and eclipses, and they just kind of look at the day itself and the energies that get raised on the day itself, and that's kind of it. And the truth of the matter is, when we're looking at astrology, we are looking at a lot of energy coming through on the day, and then that energy going to work for the 2 weeks, or in the case of eclipses, several months after. And so we don't want to get focused on the calendar day, or goodness forbid, become religious about waiting for Godot or waiting for the thing when it comes to astrology. We need to look at it as shaping, moving, and shifting energy patterns that are getting down to work. And so that's what these talks are all about. If you are ever interested in maybe more shorthand, soundbite talks about how something is going to be showing up or where it's going to be showing up for a particular sign, that's what my monthly astrology and my weekly astrology and tarot are for. And so, of course, you are absolutely okay to go and check those out. But again, these fireside chats, we go, into fireside territory. And of course, for those of you who are ever interested in getting a personal reading with me, you just need to go on ahead to my website, integrativemysticism.com, or you can follow the links in the down bar below. I do both live calls as well as recorded video reports, so whichever one works for you and your schedule. And I do want to remind people that, you can only get so personal with videos that are being put out there online that are going to be viewed by thousands of people. You don't want to let your brain think that somebody who is making a public talk is talking to you. And that is something that I think, we are starting to see a lot of go on, in the world. We don't want the parasocial illusion of, personal connection to happen in that way. A personal reading is going to give a person insight into not only your personal chart and what's going on with you, and your cards if you want cards, of course. I do tarot and astrology. I like both. I'm not an either or. I like both, but I respect what people's preferences are. And you got to be able to get personal with, what you're working with. Astrology is about the weather, and to me, tarot is about the traffic, but even those can only go so deep. Just something I really want to put out there, this year, because a lot of stuff has been going on, really shady, nasty, broken, damaged crap in the astrology and tarot worlds where, you've got people who are content creators pretending they're giving personal readings with thousands of people watching, very mega church, very hallelujah, very creepy. And then you've also got the other side where there are people creating these very damaging for themselves attachment narratives to these content creators. And the truth of the matter is no, this is not personal to you. I'm not talking to you personally when I'm making these videos. I am talking to pretty much anyone who's going to watch this video that's of my people. Okay? And that's basically how it goes. Just a little bit of a spiel there before we begin. I'm actually really, really energized by this full moon. I don't know about you guys. I ended up staying up really, really, really late last night. I had some very important developments go on before nightfall and just as the night was coming to a close for me. But then this full moon came on as I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I ended up staying up until 5:30 a.m. Pacific time, but also basically getting supercharged and super powered up. I would not call it a negative experience. I would just say, boy, I wish that full moon happened in the middle of the afternoon. So how is this full moon in Leo operating? And how is this full moon in Leo going to be working its magic as we go over this next 2 weeks? So basically covering almost the entirety of the second half of February 2025. Full moons always are about culminations, transformations, graduations, evolutions, chapter changes, era changes, and transitions. And what can happen with a full moon is that we see something getting ready to shift gears, turn over, or to maybe have that chapter change occur. And likely something that goes on over the course of that 2-week period following the date of our full moon. Now, for some people, this could be something that does come on in more of a rushed fashion, something that could maybe happen over the course of a day or two, anytime in this window period. But for some people, it might just be kind of more of a story arc that actually plays out, kind of a plot point, as it were. When we feel the intensity of a full moon on the day, we're not actually experiencing the full moon for what it is. That's just the energy coming in. A lot of the times with this full moon, what we can see, because that Leo energy is all about making more vibrant. Okay. This full moon is very much taking on the fiery energy of Leo, right? Every lunation takes on the qualities or several qualities of a particular sign, whatever sign it is actually falling in. So this is a Leo-oriented full moon. And what happens with this is that there can be a very big push to accelerate, to hit the gas, or to make something more powerful, more prominent, or maybe even more present in our lives than we have actually allowed it to be, right? Because that is very much the fire energy of this full moon going into full force. Full moons in Leo have a tendency to make a lot of waves, but in ways that actually take good care of us, in ways that actually lift us up, especially where we could use that ass kicking. This is bringing in, again, very much the theme of 2025 that I have been noticing, where everybody is getting roused to get out of the slow, indolent pace of life that's kind of taken over, the way we go about handling the world and each other since probably about the beginning of COVID. This is all about shaking into faster, more kinetic activity. And this full moon is not only doing that, but this full moon is also pushing for a shift of mentality around how we are actually going about accomplishing our goals by actually incentivizing faster activity and acceleration where we have been maybe taking things at a tortoise's pace, right? The slow and steady wins the race kind of mentality. Now, the truth of the matter is that life is not a race. So slow and steady can really set you back sometimes. Slow and steady can even keep you trapped sometimes. And if you're not careful, the protective shell of the tortoise can become his prison as well. But this full moon reminds us that because life is not a race, sometimes it's maybe better to be a hare. And we get a chance to see, where is it time to actually be more of a hare? This is the wake up, shake up moon of our year. This is what the full moon in Leo is always all about. Waking up and shaking up what needs to be roused to real, tangible activity. This can be a moon, I think, just contemporarily speaking, something that is maybe personally challenging to a lot of people or just to a lot of ways of life. I've observed myself, and I'm sure you have too, a lot of people have, and not just people in terms of like online or people who consume astrology and whatnot, but just a lot of people everywhere have kind of fallen into an illusory life of feeling and watching is somehow being equated to living and doing, or living and producing. Feeling the feelings and watching something happen is the same thing as actually living the life and being a part of the world. And this full moon is kind of challenging each and all of us to go, oh, Where have I been doing that? Again, it's an ass-kicker moon, but an ass-kicker moon for one's own good. The square that this is making to Uranus and Taurus, or this made to Uranus and Taurus, is also going to be very helpful, but also possibly very stressful and personally challenging. Now, in the monthlies and the weeklies, I described this as an opportunity, a breakthrough, or a bit of upheaval that also ends a static, stagnacious, or slow-going condition. A breakthrough, something that could be very good, that could also turn the world that we're most comfortable in upside down. But we have to understand that Uranus has been kind of challenging us to be more critical of some of the more static or stagnacious parts of our world that we're too comfortable in anyway. And so with Uranus and Taurus engaging in this, we might actually find the sort of experience of a, big shakeup or personal upheaval or external upheaval is actually required for an opportunity to be able to actually occur, or for something that we desire to have occur, to have the space, the time, and the presence to show up, or to come closer to us, or to pull us to that, or to elevate us here, or to promote us here, or whatever is going on. There is a forcefulness behind this as well, because this square is demanding a smart navigation of what could be seen as a contradiction of desires, a contradiction of experiences, and a contradiction of living. And so where are our contradictions? Where is it that maybe our comfort zone is working against us? So what do? Well, we lean in. This kind of square I've seen happen a lot with clients, good things too. Things that may actually show up in the form of a crisis that turns one's world upside down and then has a huge payoff. And the people who realize life isn't a race, so it's good to be a hare sometimes, actually prevail and come out ahead, come out on top. This is the time where you need to stop wishing, waiting, hoping, thinking, pondering, and actually get down to business, doing things. You want to talk about great things manifesting, abundance, this, that, blah, 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 fulfillment, living with purpose, stock this, stock that. Tell me what that is, definitively. Tell yourself what that is definitively. And actually make a plan to make it happen. You want that business partnership to take off? Go work with the guy. You want to make sure that you get a chance to live in the place you really want to live, where you feel at home in the world? Go visit that place. Go explore it. Explore your work opportunities. And don't you dare act like your emotional experience is the main character of reality. I'll tell you this right now. One of the things I hate the most is I hate it when people kind of go Dear Diary in my comment section to just process what they're going through. And I'm like, come on, don't graffiti up the comment section like that. Let's talk about dreams. Let's talk about hopes. Let's talk about wishes. Let's get away from always healing being healed and get back to using astrology and get back to using this stuff the way it's meant to be used. My favorite types of readings, my favorite types of stuff to do is to talk about things that are happening, moving, going, and progressing. I like to read a person like a book that's interesting to read. Full moon in Leo. Time to bring a bit more vibrancy in. And for those that do, this is also bringing an opportunity, again, for some pretty big scores. Personally, professionally, financially, socially. Residentially, for those of you curious about that, or if that is something that is a topic of concern. But we've got to be okay with being shook out of our shells. Stop being tortoises for a minute and start thinking like hares. That is what this next 2 weeks is all about. And I look forward for reading for some big brave bunnies. So you all take care. And if you ever do want to get a reading with me, go on ahead to my website, integrativemysticism.com, or you can follow the links in the down bar below. And I'll see you all again soon.